إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري يسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وبعد. We give praise and thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing us with yet another opportunity to come together to study His Word and to reflect on the beautiful Quran. Alhamdulillah, we completed Surah Hud in our last session, and after a long time. And alhamdulillah, today we begin a new surah, Surah Yusuf, which is Surah 12, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام را تلك آية الكتاب المبين إنا أنزلناه قرآنا عربيا لعلكم تعقلون نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين. The translation reads Alif Lam Ra. These are the verses of the clear book. Verily, we sent it down as an Arabic Quran in order that you may understand. We relate to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best of stories through our revelation to you of this Quran. And before this, you were among those who knew nothing about it. The Surah Yusuf, of course, it takes its name from the subject. The title text is from the subject of the khutbah of the Surah, which is Surah Yusuf, which is Yusuf, and so it's taken from there. So Yusuf is a Meccan Surah. It is a Meccan Surah revealed in the last period before the Hijrah. According to scholars, there are 4 ayahs from this surah that are Madani, which is the first, second, third, and 7th ayah. They say are Madani surahs that was revealed after Surah Hud. But the rest of the surah is Makki, and it was revealed in the last period just before the Hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This surah follows the previous surah, Surah Hud, in relating the stories of the prophets and messengers of the past. The difference, however, between this and Surah Hud is that Surah Hud cover many of the messengers, whereas this surah covers only one messenger. One prophet it covers, that is Prophet Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam. It therefore is the longest story told in the Quran and told chronologically. It is the longest story told at once and told in a chronological manner, step by step, like this. Whereas with all the other prophets, their stories are told scattered throughout the Quran, and no chronology was given to them. It was told that different surahs, instances where it was needed, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala needs to emphasize a particular point about the earlier prophets, He will mention that particular point alone, and not the rest of the story. And then you find their stories scattered throughout the Quran. But Prophet Yusuf, his story is told from beginning to end in a chronological manner, and it is not mentioned in any other part of the Quran. So you wouldn't find the story of Yusuf mentioned in any other part of the Quran. Yes, his name is mentioned as a prophet when Allah talks about the messengers or prophets and messengers. So Allah does mention his name in other surahs, but his story, no. So in Surah 6, Surah 6 is Arafah, right? An'am, right? An'am, right. In Surah 6, Ayah 84, his name is mentioned. And in Surah 40, Surah 40, Ayah 34, his name is mentioned. So these are only places that his name is mentioned, but his story is not found in any other part other than this surah, Surah Yusuf. And so this surah condenses over 40 years of the life of Yusuf. It's condensed into this surah. Right? Over 40 years of his life is told and condensed into this surah. Making it so that while it is not extremely brief, so you don't get a full grasp or understanding of it, it's yet still not too long, so it becomes, it causes one to lose interest in the story itself. Maintained, so is a beautiful balance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made in narrating the story, even though it's done in a chronological manner. That span of his life is condensed in a manner that, as well as not too brief, it is also not too long. So you can follow the story and you can accept, you can control the story easily. This is the beauty of the Quran. Of course, there are many differences of opinion among the scholars, and many points are advanced as to Asbab al-Nuzul in relation to it. When the surah was revealed. There are three main points that we can probably take from it, found in the Tafseer books. One is that, and this is in a hadith written from Ibn Abbas, that the companion said to the Prophet ﷺ, "O Prophet, could you tell us some stories of the prophets of the past?" Right? Don't forget, this is the Meccan surah. It's not the Madani surah. It's the Meccan surah. In the Madani surahs, you find Allah talks a lot with the prophets. Right? And so he said that they asked the Prophet should tell them some stories of the past, of the prophets of the old, and the Prophet started with this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him this story of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. And another point raised by in Tabari, they said that the Jews wanted to test the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As usual, they did that often. They would always send people to ask him questions, and so if he can't answer this, you know he's no prophet. I mean, but they did that with all the prophets before. It's not only Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They did set up prophets before. Prophet Isa alayhi salam, they would always send people to ask him questions. What is this? What is that? Prophet They always send people to ask him questions. Who is this? What is that? The idea is if they can't answer this, if you see he's a charlatan, he's no prophet. Right? So they said that they did this to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They sent to ask. One asked him, tell him, they told the people, ask him about the family of Yaqub. Ask him about the family of Yaqub and why they moved from Sham to Egypt. Ask him about that. And so if he can answer you, you know that he's not a prophet. And so the story came and explained all that. All of what's going on, giving even more details than they themselves had about the fact to confirm to them that this is really true. And then there's the other The other point that suggests that he said that Umar radiallahu anhu, and there are about 2 or 3 narrations about the story of Umar. One narration said that Umar, he purchased some pages of Torah from a Jew. In another narration, it said that this Jew he was close friends with him. He was like a brother, and he says, you know, he gave him these pages for him, right? He wrote these pages off the Torah and gave it to Umar, for Umar to think. It said then, so in both cases, it said that one said Umar came and he says, O Messenger of Allah, I got these pages from my brother, from the Bani Qurayza, and shall I recite it to you? And the Prophet ﷺ frowned. Right? The Prophet showed anger in his face. And in another narration it says that he came and he says, I got this page, and he started reading. Right? So one said he asked the Prophet if he could read, and the next one said that he actually started reading. But in both cases they said that the Prophet his face turned angry, so anger showed on his face. When the Prophet, when he was angry, you saw it on his face. Right? He said when the Prophet was angry, you saw it on his face. Right? So you know he was angry. So they saw it in his face. And in one narration, he said to Omar, he says, Ya Omar, if Musa alayhi salatu wassalam was here now, you will have no other option but to follow me. Right? If Musa was here now, you would have no other option but to follow me. And in the other narration, it said if Musa was alive, and you people decide to follow him instead of me, you left me and go to follow him, all of you would have been astray. All of you would have been astray, because you are my portion from the people of my ummah, and I am your portion from the prophethood. So I am for you and you for me. And if you had followed me, you would have gone astray. All right, and this is very clear because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the last of the messengers, and so it's not permissible or allowed to follow any other messenger after the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ comes. So while we as Muslims, we believe in the return of Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, we believe in the return of Jesus, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. When Isa alayhi salatu wasalam returned to the earth, he will not return as a messenger, a prophet and messenger. Right? He will not return as a prophet and messenger because his mission is completed as a prophet and messenger. And so he returned to the earth as a follower of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is a special honor for Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only appointed him as the last messenger, prophet and messenger for Bani Israel, but he also honored him to be also a member of the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's a special honor to Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, that Allah made him a member of the Ummah of the last great messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All right. So when he returns not as a prophet and messenger, but as a follower of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the surah itself, there's a whole lot of stuff, but we don't want to go too much. There's enough information about the surah itself. This surah, it begins with Alif Lam Ra. Right? Alif Lam Ra is from the letters of Muqatta'ah. right? The letters of muqatta'at, these disjointed letters from their 14 muqatta'at, 14 disjointed letters that is repeated in the Quran, that is appears in different combinations at the beginning of surahs, right? The beginning, 14 letters that comes in different arrangements, different combinations, beginning at the beginning of surahs. Alif Lam Mim, Alif Lam Ra, Hamim, Yasin, and so forth. All right, Kaf, Ya, Ain, Sad, and stuff like eyes, like Sad, Noon, etc. These in different combinations. They appear in sometimes one letter, sometimes two, sometimes three, sometimes four, in different combinations. Sometimes it forms a whole ayah by itself. Right? It forms a whole ayah, or sometimes it comes as part of an ayah. They're called muqatta'at, and there are about 29 surahs in the Quran that has them. Right? There are about 29 surahs in the Quran that has the muqatta'at. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, neither Allah nor His Messenger explained the meaning or significance of these muqatta'at. Right? Neither did Allah do it, nor His Messenger do it. So basically, the knowledge of the significance and meaning of the muqatta'at is known only to Allah and His Messenger. We do not know anything about it. The Prophet did not explain whether he was told its meaning or whether he was not told its meaning. Right? And we know that Jibril ﷺ was explaining everything to the Prophet ﷺ, so we know that the Prophet ﷺ most likely would have known the meaning. But he never explained it. He never told us, they never told us its meaning or significance. So, any attempt by anyone to explain the meaning or significance of these ayahs, of these muqatta'at, know that it is deviation. Right? It is a deviation. And we shall avoid listening to or taking on. People have taken that kind of burden on themselves. Right? People have taken that burden on themselves. Oh, Aleph represents Allah, Lam represents Jibril, and Mim represents Muhammad, and all kind of silly stuff like that. We have no idea about it. We don't know. Hamim is a special name of the Prophet ﷺ, and all kind of stuff like that. Right? Allah never said that. No, Rasulullah didn't say it. So all the explanations that you find of the meaning or significance of those ayah, you can take it and throw it in the garbage. Right? Because Allah didn't explain it, Prophet ﷺ didn't explain it, so we leave it at that. Allah, so the authentic Tafseer, you'll find it, Allah and His Messenger knows best. All the scholars, when they read it, they'll say, Allah and His Messenger know best about this. Right? And you leave it like that, and you go on. So this is how it begins. Right? And the surah begins. And the ayah continues. Tilka ayatul kitab al-mubin. The first ayah. Tilka ayatul kitab al-mubin. Here, the word tilka, which is ismul ishara, demonstrative pronoun, all right, is a demonstrative pronoun for things that is far. In English, I mean, in Arabic, things that are near to you, you say hada masculine, hadi feminine. This is for things that is near to you. Things that are far from you, you use a demonstrative pronoun for things that are far. Right? Dhalika, masculine, tilka, feminine. Right? So it shows this is so when you say dhalika or tilka, it means that that thing is a distance from you, it is far from you. When you say hadha or hadhihi, it means that thing is written from you. Right? In Arabic language, the words are either masculine or feminine. And ayah is a feminine word. Right? Ayah is a feminine word. So instead of saying dhalika, it will say tilka. Right? So because it's talking tilka ayah, it's talking with the ayah. Tilka ayah. Right? Whereas Allah SWT says dhalika al-kitab. Right? When you begin the Quran, it says dhalika al-kitab. Because kitab is masculine. Right? Whereas ayah is feminine. So Allah says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ, we say tilka ayat. Alright? The scholar said this form of mentioning something, it is not showing the distance, it's showing the loftiness of the ayat, of the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ, showing the loftiness of the Quran. Tilka ayat, the loftiness of the words of the Quran, is showing how lofty it is. So as though it is way up there. So it's showing the loftiness of it. So it says tilka ayat. Right? Rather than it says hadhihi ayat, it says tilka ayat. Right? So tilka ayat. Ayat, the word ayat is of course ayat is the plural of ayah. Ayah singular. Ayat is plural. It means the verses. So each ayah, each verse in the Quran is called an ayah, right? Ayat. And you got short verses, you got long verses. Some ayahs consist of only one word, and some consist of many words. So the short and long verses. It also means signs. It also means signs. Or miracles. Yet also mean evidences or proof. Evidence or proof of something. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us two types of ayah. The two types of ayah that Allah has given us. The first type of ayah is the ayah mar'i. Or hissi, those sensory things that we can see and touch, and hence the ayat. You know, as Allah says, Sunurim ayatina fil afaq, we shall show them our ayat in the universe. Wafi anfusihim, and in themselves, hatta yatabayyanu ma lahum, until it becomes evidently clear to them that this message is true, that this Quran is true. Alright, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that type of ayat, the ayat in the ufuk, right, in the universe that we see. Those things we can see, you know, and Allah mentioned in ayat, you know, from the ayat, He talk about the day and the night and the interchanging of the day and the night and the sun and the moon and all these ayat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Clear evidences of Allah's greatness and Allah's ability to create and His power and His mastery over His creation, that people should reflect on it and think about it and submit and surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one type of ayah. The second type of ayah is the ayah that is makruh, the one that is recited, which is the Quran forms that one of is part of it. Or the Kutub al-Samawi, the revealed books, they are the second type of ayat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave, where it consists of two things. Speech, because you know speech is made up of two, is one of two. Speech is either it's still khabar or insha. Right? Khabar means it's
communicate.
Description, yes. is descriptive, it's explaining something. Khabar is descriptive or it is prescriptive. Right? It's either descriptive khabar or insha. Right? Khabar or insha. So it is either prescriptive, it is descriptive or prescriptive. Right? Speech falls in those two categories. And so this is combined within the Quran. Right? It's combined within the Quran for people. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Al-Kitab means that it is the book of guidance, or the book of revelation. The book, because Kitab means book, or it means revelation, and also Kitab means decree. So the decrees from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? It's Kitab, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Kutiba alaykum as-siyam, kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum. Right? So it also means a decree, or it means also the thing. So the book of decrees, or the book of revelation, so Quran, and this is one of the names of the Quran, Al-Kitab. Right? It's also Dhalik Al-Kitab. Right? It is one of the names of the many names of the Quran. The Quran has so many names, and Al-Kitab is one of the names of the Quran. Al-Mubin, which is the man'ud, the na'am, Al-Kitab means na'am, noun and this description. Mubin, it means to be clear, to be plain, to be self-evident, right? To be self-evident. So it also means to explain and to expound and to elucidate something. So the Quran is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala referred to the ayat of the Quran that it is clear, explaining and expounding and elucidating everything that is important. It's a book of revelation, explaining and expounding all matters of importance for human being. Right? It explains everything, all is important. So it talks about, while it gives khabar, explaining, giving the things and describing and explaining things, it also gives the prescriptions for which people to follow, salah, this, that, about everything, the rules, the sharia, all that. It gives, so it is a book explaining everything for people to follow. And yes, Allah says, we did not leave anything out of this book. We did not leave anything out of this book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spells it all out, right, in the book, in the Quran. So the Quran is self-explanatory. It explains all the things that is important for people to understand. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Tilka ayatul kitab al-mubin. The Quran is that book that explains everything for people to understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in his next ayah, Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyyan la'allakum ta'qilun. Inna, verily, indeed, we sent it down as an Arabic recitation or Arabic Quran so that you may understand. Right? This statement affirms and confirms that this Quran came from Allah. It is not the product of the Prophet ﷺ. He's declaring this to the Quraysh and to everybody else. This didn't come from Muhammad ﷺ, like they were claiming that this is stuff that he make up and stuff like that. No, it didn't come. It came from Allah. So it is declaring, right, and confirming that this Quran came from Allah. Allah is the one who sent it down. Allah is the one who sent it down. to the heart of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He it is who sent it. Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabian, and he sent it down as an Arabic. The word Quran, right, is from qara'a, which means to read, right? So Quran would be reading. When you use it in its form, it is like a reading or recitation, right? A reading or recitation, Arabiyan, in Arabic. So it's a reading or recitation in Arabic language, right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes the statement of the Quran, right? Qur'anan Arabiyan, an Arabic recitation or recitation in the Arabic language, right? And this is so not because the Quran is for Arabs, right? It is so because the last messenger, prophet and messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is an Arab, right? Is an Arab, right? He speaks Arabic. That is his language, right? That is his language. He is from the Abrahamic branch, the Ismailic branch of the Abrahamic family, and we know that that family, there were two branches, and whereas the Isaac branch, they speak Hebrew among other languages. This, you know, the prophets and those different languages, each prophet spoke different languages. All the prophets spoke the languages of the people. All right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he sent the Quran down, he sent it in the language of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He sent it in the language of the Prophet, as Allah mentioned in Surah 14, which is Surah Ibrahim, Ayah 4. Allah says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ. Right? And we did not send any messenger except in the language of his people. Except with the language of his people. Right? So we have not sent. Why? لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُمْ, that he might explain and expound and make things clear to them. Make the revelation clear to them. So if the Prophet ﷺ, that's why the people who say, when some of the Quraysh were saying, you know, that these, the Prophet ﷺ is receiving this from some jinn. Right? They're the one, you know, whispering to him, and he's saying it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you know, this Quran, you know, the people who would convey it, their language is not Arabic, but this is pure Arabic. So he is an Arabic prophet. How could he convey it? Means he got to translate to explain. No, he says, Allah says this is Quran Mubin, it's Arabic. It's clear Arabic, you know. So, and and it's not just clear Arabic, but it is the top of the language. Arabic itself, the Arabic language, is the most developed of all the human languages. Of course, all languages was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? People didn't make languages. Right? People did not make languages. Languages were made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that of his ayat is اختلاف ألسنتكم وألوانكم. Of his ayat, of his great potent science, is the difference of color, right? So coloration among human beings is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we need to respect and love that, and the language lisan. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the different languages were made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. Right? And Allah in his wisdom and his knowledge and wisdom, he always selects one and put it back. Everything and everything. You know, Juma is the best day of the week. Arafah is the best day of the year. You know, and so on. So Islam, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selects and appoints who and what is better. He creates wa yakhtar, and he chooses. He has that power to do that, right? So this language, which is one of the languages that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created for human beings to express themselves, that this is the most developed of all the human languages. Arabic language is the most developed of all the human languages. It is almost like, as you can say, it's complete. Arabic is such that it is self-sustaining. Right? It's not just, it is self-sustaining. In other words, it grows on its own. Right? Whereas other languages grows by borrowing from other languages. Languages grow by borrowing. So English is a hodgepodge language. It borrows from everybody. Right? It's kind of hodgepodge kind of language. It borrows from everybody. But Arabic doesn't have to borrow from anyone. It can grow and develop on its own. Because of the nature of the Arabic, so how they develop the languages. So any new stuff, new things, you can find it from in Islam. You know, like for instance, telephone, they didn't have a telephone back then. Right? Telephone is a new gadget, technological gadget, you know. But you can find a word for it in Arabic. Right? So while people like to, you know, bastardize the language and say telephone, right? And bastardize the language like that, it is, you know, the correct word for telephone is hatif. That's the correct word. It's an Arabic word from Arabic source, from Arabic origin. Hatif. You know. Air condition, right? Air condition. It is again another modern gadget. You know, and while people are saying, as I said, they say condition, and they bastardize the language. You know, but it's in Arabic it's mukayyif. You know, a refrigerator, right? You know, it's a modern contraption. You know, but you can also find in Arabic from itself thalaja. Right? Because of the nature of the language itself, it grows. So no matter what you bring, you can grow by itself. You don't have to borrow this stuff and put it in. That's the unique thing about Arabic, because Arabic has become the most developed of all the languages. And Arabic is a living language, is an ancient language, but it is also a modern language because it's a spoken language. It is a spoken language, and it's spoken by millions of people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala select this language, and this language is the language, therefore, the language of the last messenger, prophet and messenger, and it is also the language of the people of Jannah. It is the language of the people of Jannah, right? Of the paradise. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He sent the prophets with the language of the Quran, and so it is in Arabic, so that it's not difficult for those, but it was not difficult for those people to understand. So all the questions and stuff that they would raise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send it for them, you know, that He sent this for people to quite understand what it is. It was just ما أرسلنا من رسول إلا بلسان قومه ليبين لهم, and we did not send any messenger except with the language of his people, that he might explain and expound to them, right, as he did to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ. And we have sent down the Quran, this message to you, that you might expound and explain to the people what was sent down. So he sent it in language because the people speak in Arabic. So it came down for everyone. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَيُدَلُّ اللَّهُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He leads astray whom He wills, and He guides whom He will. So the prophets will explain the message, and people who want to follow will follow. Those who don't want to follow, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let them go astray. Allah does not force nobody because like Prophet Deen. So that this Quran, while it is sent down in Arabic language, it is not for Arabic, it is for everybody. This is the final revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all people. This is for all mankind. And so, because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, unlike the earlier prophets, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a universal prophet. Where most of the prophets were sent to a specific people, the Quran was, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was raised among the Arab people, but his mission was to all people. His mission was to all people. So, you know, where you find statements attributed to Jesus saying, you know, I was not sent except to the lordship of the house of Israel. You won't find in the Prophet ﷺ, you find the statement Allah saying, Qul, say to them, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, Inni Rasulullah ilaykum jami'a. Verily, I am the messenger of Allah to all of you. Surah 7, Ayah 158. Right? So you'll find that is always this message is for everybody. It's for all mankind. This message is sent for all people to believe in it. So that because of this message being a universal message coming from a universal prophet, it is important that the message be conveyed to every so people can understand. You understand the truth of the message, understand. And this is where it puts our onus on us as Muslims to make sure that we convey this message as Rasulullah instructed the companions, let those who are present convey the message to those who are absent so that they will become aware. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, that you may understand. So the people of this time that will understand it, and this message is to convey so that everyone will understand the message. Understand what is the truth, what the truth is all about. This does not mean, you know, that while the message should be conveyed to all and sundry, it don't mean that you impose it on anybody. Like Iqra Deen. Allah says, there's no compulsion in Deen. Got to buy in a rush, because guidance has been made distinct from misguidance. So once you convey the message, people of intelligence will think about it, ponder it, reflect on it, and will make a choice. And those who are arrogant and ignorant might say, well, I don't want to hear it. But once you convey, they can't stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Qiyamah and say, well, I didn't know anything about it. Nobody told me. At first time I heard this stuff. No one can make those kind of excuses, because the message was conveyed to them. Whether they accept it or not is on them. That the onus is on them, but the onus is on us to make sure that they hear it. So for us, when we make da'wah, that we say da'wah is just to make people understand the message, not to make people Muslim. Right? We don't. Allah won't make Muslims. Right? That's why Allah says, "If you dill Allah man yasha, we yahdi man yasha." Right? So that Allah won't make Muslims. Not we don't. We don't make Muslims. So our job when we convey the message of Islam is not to make people Muslim, right? Because we have that power. We don't have power to make no Muslim. Even the Prophet couldn't do it. Allah SWT tell the Prophet, "Innaka la tahdi man ahbabta." You can't guide whom you feel, who you love. Walakin Allah yahdi man yasha. It's Allah who guides whom He pleases. So that kind of guidance is not in our hands. All right, that kind of guidance is not in our hands. So we can, you know, guide people and make people Muslim. But it is a job to convey the message, because this is for everybody. This message is for everybody. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we're going to try to wrap up quickly on this. I don't know if we can go through this other one quickly. نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is then relate in response to that request. Allah says, we relate to you, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best of stories. Ahsan al-qasas. This is the best of stories. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because in this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the details and treated it different to how we treated all the other stories before. So he gave this as a khabar. Right? But although it comes as khabar, where it comes to chronological, it is in it that you can from it, because the Quran is not just khabar, it's not just like to give it information. It's not a history book. Right? It's not a history book. So within it, it is combined that we should be able to learn and extract lessons from it. That we should extract lessons from it. So it's not just a story. Right? It's not just a story that you to entertain. Right? It's not a story just for entertainment. It's a story from which now you can learn lessons, extract lessons that you can apply in your everyday life. So Allah says, Ahsan al-Qasas is the best narration, right? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is conveying to you, that we reveal to you in this Quran. And the Quran, the entire Quran is like that. Right? Whether it is khabar, and whether it is khabar or insha. Whether it's khabar or insha. The Quran, the whole Quran is like this. Right? So whether it is descriptive or prescriptive, the Quran you benefit, you can extract benefit. It's not there's not just entertainment, it's not entertainment. Although people like to take the Quran as entertainment nowadays. Right? Nowadays people take the Quran for entertainment and not education. So they entertain themselves rather than edify themselves, which is unfortunate, because you don't want, you can only get when you get only educate and entertainment from it, you don't really get much benefit. You don't really get much benefit. So people do it for entertainment. They put the cassette on and just to play in the background, So the chatting, you get into the car and they put on the Quran. Not because they want to listen, but they want it to be background to all discussions and stuff like that. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this Quran, is what he says in the Quran. Right? إِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنِ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ. When the Quran is being recited, listen to it. وَأَنْصِتُوا, and keep quiet. Right? لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ, that you might gain, Allah might be merciful to you and give you knowledge and give you understanding and give you benefit from it. So you have to listen. Right? You have to listen. Stop talking. So if you want to chat, turn it off. Right? Turn it off. Right? Don't keep it as your background conversation, your background then people do it for entertainment. It's like you're entertaining yourself, so you put it on, you want to do something halal. Right? You want to do something halal, so you're not going to put on, you're not going to put on some music or something, so you put the Quran. That's not halal, because you're not doing what it says. Alright? So it's important that we get that. So this Quran is to extract benefit from it. So that's the whole bit to benefit you. Right? And so it's important for us to understand this message that is given. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن كُنْتَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ مِنَ الضَّالِينَ and مِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphasizing that the Prophet himself was unaware. So he is refuting the claims of the Quraysh in those people who were saying that the Prophet make it up. He's refuting their claims. Right? Inna anzalnahu, and we mentioned before, we sent it down, and here Allah concluded, he didn't even know anything about it before we sent it. He had no clue. Right? So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again closes the ayah but it closes the point by emphasizing that he didn't even know before Allah sent this to him, he had no knowledge of it. So it didn't come from any from. We sent it down to inform him, and you might educate the people about it. So this is, he was unaware of it before, and so this came from directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so this is the preface to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the preface to the story of Yusuf. This is the preface to the story of Yusuf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cleared all these points, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enters into the story. Let's call it Yusuf. So inshallah, we stop at this point. I think we ran over our time. And any quick question, inshallah, before we close off.
Why?
Brother.
Brother Imam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. As it pertains to this particular last ayah about the qasas, I went somewhere and I heard a very nice khutbah that one of the imams gave. And one of the students of knowledge walked up to the imam afterwards, and he said, first I would tell you that what the imam was talking about, he was talking about the statistics of incarceration in America, and how voluminous that crime and corruption is. So he gave some statistics about it, and he said some other things. The student of knowledge walked up to the imam afterwards and said, "You can't give a khutbah like that." He said, why I can't give a khutbah like that? He said, because you're bringing stories. The imam said, but the Quran is full of stories. The student said, yeah, but those stories are not just stories. My question to you is about what's your opinion on giving a khutbah that, and a lot of the khatibs do this, they bring very nice stories that are not the Quran stories, but they bring the story in the khutbah. When I listened to what the student said, it made good sense, but at the same time too, who gave the student that legislative authority to tell the imam that you can't do that?
Well, many of the old scholars and teachers, they taught, you'll find that many of them, especially in the parts of continent, from a lot of them, they taught lessons through anecdotes or short stories. Many people get carried away with the story itself. But the purpose of the story, like the story of the Quran, is not to tell you a story. It is to teach you a principle. So you find that many of the books, like for instance, the book Bustan by Sheikh Sadi, it is a book that people might think is just a book of stories. It's not a book of stories. It's books on principles of moral principles that they use to teach, but they use the form of, because it's a form of teaching. And so as a method, just as a method used in the Quran, yes, the Quran talks about work, but the whole method is to teach. And there's nothing wrong in using that method to teach. There's nothing wrong in using the method to teach. Right? It's a teaching method. So if you use it, use it as a story as a teaching method, it is okay.
The book you just mentioned, Sheikh Saudi, what's the name of it?
Al-Bustan.
Al-Bustan?
Yeah, the gardens of something. I don't even remember the full name of it.
No, I just looking at his whole collection, and I'm sure I will find it.
Bustan. I just mentioned it, that one came straight to my head. Like that. But if you read many of the earlier scholars, they taught a lot by stories. They give you a story that in it is a moral, right? It's a moral, it's a principle for you to extract, to learn. Even in our part of the world, we do that. People used to, all people used to do that. They, to teach, the story of the dog and the bone. right? The story of the dog and the bone. It's not just a story. It is a principle. You know, the dog crossing the river. You know, he has a bone, and he's walking across it, and he looks in the water. He sees a shadow of a dog in there, his reflection. There's a dog in there with a bone a lot bigger than his. Right? So what he does, he grabs at it, and his bone fell out, his bone fell in the water, and he got nothing.
Greediness.
Greed. Greed. He's teaching about greed. It's not, you know, it's not just a story, it's about greed. You know, be content with what you have, because you can also you might lose what you have also. Yes, be thankful. You know, satisfied with what you have. You know, I mean, it's a very good moral story. Right? It's a very good moral story. So, I mean, that is a teaching tool. It is not just telling a story for a story's sake. So if he's using that as a means of teaching, what's wrong with that? You know, who says it's around? You know? Yeah, metaphor, yes. But I can say I get
I was reading, I think the new Quran came out with Noble Quran. It was translated by Dr. Khan and Dr. Tafseer, the new one. Came out from Saudi. And inside of it was that Ismail Hannah, you know Hannah?
yes.
That's his real mother. So he said that he was the owl, what the kind of know how to read.
He was the first
He was the first one to speak how to read.
No, he was
No,
not.
it was before Muhammad.
No, he was not the first person to speak Arabic. According to the history, that as the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, that Arabic is Yemeni, from Yemen. Yes, 31st was from Arab. People of Yemen. Adnan, yes, Adnan. Right? Those are people who migrated from there. Quraysh migrated from that. You know, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was not Arab. Ibrahim alayhi salam was not Arab, and his wife Hajra was not Arab, and Ismail alayhi salam was not Arab. That's why they would say they were Arabized. That is because they came, they settled there, and they learned language for the people. When the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam left his wife Hajra there with his son Ismail, they were not from Arabia, right? They came and they settled there, and then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Jibreel to raise the Zamzam, right? The tribe from Yemen, when because after the dam broke and that, they traveled, they lost, they were traveling looking for places to settle where they have water. And that's when they noticed and they came and eventually they settled in Mecca. So Ismail grew up among them, married from among them, and so they said he was Arabized. He was not originally Arab. He was Arabized, like all of us, because the Prophet said Al-Arabiya to be lisan. Arabic is by language, speaking.
But how about the guy that he said he wanted to do the Kaaba in Yemen, and the guy came to the urine on the Kaaba.
No, that was Abraham. He wasn't building a Kaaba. He built a church. Yemen, don't forget Yemen, was Christian, right? He's Christian coming over from right across from Abyssinia, right? And Christianity is settled there, and it came over to a portion of Yemen. Abraham became Christian, following those people. And he wanted to build a massive church that would be resemble like the Kaaba, so to get people to come there, to get the Arabs to come there. But then when the Arab tribes, considered this deen and for him and stuff, and they messed it up. So this when he decided he's gonna go and destroy the Kaaba.
That brings up an interesting point. Who was the first person to speak Arabic? And I'm looking at, it's a two-part question. You said earlier that it was also the language of German. In the narration in the book of Surah, in Imam Bukhari's collection, he brings the hadith about when our father was with Allah, and Allah told him to go over there and greet those group of the angels that are sitting there. He went there and he said specifically, Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
My question pertains to really answering that question by that narration, that our father was the first person to speak Arabic, according to that narration. And that's my question, will all of us understand Arabic being the language of Jannah when we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Yeah. Because Arabic is the language of Jannah. The angels speak Arabic. It's the language of Jannah. All right? And when the believers go to Jannah, may Allah put us among them.
Amen.
Inshallah, we all will be able to speak the language and understand it because that's how we communicate. But that's the language of Jannah. Right? That's the language of That's what Adam, alayhi salam, when you go to him, she gets salam because it's the language of Jannah. Right? That's how the people communicate. But on earth, the first group to speak it was the people from Yemen.
That's the point. That's the part.
Because we all say Assalamu alaikum. We all say, everybody say Assalamu
They're
alaikum.
from Yemen. That's what the Prophet says, Arabic is Yemeni.
Yeah.
Now,
I was reading that.
and he also said knowledge is Yemeni.
Reading that one too. That we're Allah told Adam, Salam, Adam the angels. Well, say me out when not called on. He said, and understand what they tell you. Because this is what the language you're all speaking. That was in Jannah.
Yeah, it was the language in Jannah. It was the language in Jannah. Now, yes, we have.
Yes, I'm talking about Abraham. Is there like authentic the time the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was born? Is there a specific time? Is it known? The day of his birth?
The exact date is not known, the year, because the Arabs then used to keep dates like that. All right? They used to keep, the most significant event that happened in the year, that year would be called after that year. It would be called that year. They didn't have like numbers and stuff like that, how we do now. So the most significant event that took place that year was Abraham coming to destroy the Kaaba. So it was called the year of the elephant, right? The year of the elephant. That was the year in which the Prophet was born.
Was it close to that time?
So the Prophet was born in that year.
No, I'm talking about, was it close to the time that he was actually going to destroy the Kaaba?
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's from
But that was, that period is the whole year.
Yeah, yes,
But
the whole
I'm
year.
saying during the time of that
Exactly if it is just
Was it
before,
born
just
close?
after, I don't know.
Close, yeah.
Because nobody knows, why people say Rabi al-Awwal, and people say 12 and all that. There is no definitive, date, right? There's no definitive date that you can say, yes, it is exactly this time. So we know that, we know the year, right? And so they estimate the time, right? Based on the historical evidence, they estimate the time. So they know the year, the exact date is not known. Because we find more than one day that's been given.
All we know is a Monday, right?
Huh?
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
said,
it was one of the ones because the prophet said that. He said it. So, we know God because he said it. Right? Now,
I just gonna say, I think that was a blessing in itself. The law allowed them to not keep a specific date at that time because it extra people out from celebrating Prophet Muhammad's birthday.
yeah.
And I just started that why you can't celebrate his birthday.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the law made it not known.
Good point.
Yeah, good point. Thank, inshallah, I guess that's it. Yeah, make our session up. Subhanaka wa bihamdika. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.